But it wasn't me. It was his fault. He did it. I'm not the one responsible. Blamers are everywhere today, and they fail to take responsibility for something they did, or they flatly deny that they had anything to do with it. Today I'm going to tell you all about blamers, how they think and behave, and how you can overcome their form of thinking and behavior using 3 simple tips. Blamers are always trying to pin the responsibility on someone else and pretend like they had nothing to do with it. Oh, it wasn't me. I would never do that. All of the things that with regard to how they think, how they behave, and how they look at the future, all of that is very evident. And once you become aware of how they deal with the world around them, you can deal with them effectively using the 3 tips that I'm going to share with you today. Keeping that in mind, know that a blamer has very evident body language, usually very tight and reserved, and at the same time they have a very abnormal tone of voice, and at the same time abnormal eye contact. Their body is always of this closed and reserved. Oh no, it wasn't me. Their tone of voice is usually clipped, tight, and usually very, very high tone, and at the same time their overall demeanor and their eye contact, it's not really normal. It's not something that is maintained. It's usually shifting, or it's a form of staring, and also it can be them looking to the left, because usually blamers tend to look to the left when they're lying. This is a very common tactic that's used in police investigations and any environment where they're trying to check if someone's lying. So there's a body language tip for you. So left upper corner lying, right upper corner thinking. Having said that, know that blamers are usually acting the way that they do for something that happened in the past. Yep, they frame their future situation instead of accepting responsibility because in the past something happened to them. Having said that, what exactly happened in the past? Well, there are multiple perspectives to that. Maybe they find it hard to accept responsibility because they want to avoid being punished, because in the past they got punished for something and now they don't want to face that again. It could also be because they do not see it consistent with their self-image. Now, I don't want to take responsibility because this is something bad. I don't do bad things, and doing bad things is not a reflection of my self-image. I'm a good person. I always want to maintain my image, and that image is going to come across to someone else. So I don't want someone else to blame me for something that I didn't do, or something that I'm flatly denying that I did, by tarnishing my self-image. So make sure that this is taken into consideration whenever you look at someone who is blaming another person. It could also be the fact that they feel it's a sign of weakness. They feel it's a sign of weakness to accept responsibility for something that happened. And this is extremely perilous if you're working in a team, if you're not looking at the overall perspective and what it actually means to blame someone else, because it's much easier to pin something on someone else, or something that you or the other person who is blaming the other person is incapable of doing. Keeping that in mind, use these 3 tips effectively because they are very powerful. And someone who makes excuses, someone who cannot accept responsibility for the way the situation is, all 3 of these tips are going to work very, very effectively. So keep all of them in mind, use them to the best of your ability, and I promise you that you will deal with blamers very effectively. Number 1, cut them off. Make sure that when someone is trying to blame the other person, you interrupt them, because they are going off on a rant. They are just throwing words as they see fit, and it doesn't really solve anything. Remember, you are trying to give a perspective in the situation. So interrupt them and cut their train of thought so that you can put forth your perspective. And what is that focus on this most important thing. That is what needs to happen next. Focus on the future. That's tip number 2. Once you have interrupted them and you have broken their train of thought, focus on what needs to happen. As a leader, a family man, or in a hospital or any environment where you are dealing with other people, you need to make sure that a blame-free culture is established. Now, this is very hard for someone who has been used to blame and punishment, someone who has been physically hit for making a mistake sometime in their lives, or feel that it's very embarrassing to expose themselves in a certain way in front of other people. This is really, really hard. So establish a blame-free culture, but make them accept responsibility. And remember not to damage the person or their feelings while doing this. This is highly strategic, highly effective. It's spoken about a lot, but not very well executed. But you need to realize that if you can create a blame-free culture with responsibility, where someone takes responsibility, okay, this is what happened. Now what needs to happen moving forward? Remember, the perspective that you need to have is what needs to happen now. How do we move forward? How do we actually deal with the situation at hand? That is your job. Once you do this, you move into tip number 3, and that is learn by reflecting. Learn by reflecting what happened. Make them actually perform this exercise. Make them sit down and tell them, you know what? This is what happened this time. What did we gain out of it? We lost that money. We lost that opportunity. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pinpoint fingers at each one of you, but this is a loss for a team. So if you're dealing with a sports team, you're dealing with someone who is a part of your workforce. This is all super powerful stuff. You make them sit down and reflect about what happened. And you lead the interaction. When you lead the interaction, you ask them these questions. You are the one in power. You are the one in command. So if you put forth these questions and you make them reflect about what happened, kind of like how a parent actually tells a child, what needs to happen now? How can we get past this together? And if you use the framework where we do it instead of pointing fingers again, that individual perspective is lost and immediately they are looking at the entire group again. So it's very easy to point fingers, but remember, if this reflection that I am just speaking about, if you learn by reflection either one-to-one or as an entire team where the entire team is sitting, or you do a combination of both, it is super effective to deal with blamers. Blamers are always going to point fingers. It's a part of who they are. But at the same time, you need to consider what is the requirement of the entire team and keep that in consideration whenever you are dealing with blamers. Remember, what matters is not what the blamer does, what actually happened, not the overall perspective. Here the situation demands how do you move forward? What are the requirements of the team? What needs to happen next? If you can reinforce this much, if you can always put this into perspective, not only are you going to become a better leader, you will also learn how to deal with other blamers very effectively. And know that people skill is the most important skill that you need today. Keeping all of that in mind, if you want to learn more about how to talk to anyone, how to talk to any kind of person or people, then hit the I button. Go down to the description box. Watch this entire playlist that I have made for you to learn how to deal with different kinds of people. What are the exact conversational techniques? And if you use them effectively, I promise you that you will become a conversation master. A master conversationalist. That is what you have waiting for you in that playlist. Hit the I button or go down to the description box and check it out. And I will leave a link for it at the end of this video as well. If you found this video useful, hit the thumbs up button, comment down below, tell me what you learned from this video. What are you picking up from my videos? I want to know. Where are you from? What are you facing as a challenge in your life? I want to help you out with it because I am dedicated to making you the best version of yourself and having you perform like a champion in every single area of your life. So what do you want to learn about? Where are you looking to grow? And what do you want to improve at? Comment down below and tell me. And of course, if this is your first time here, we are dedicated to making all of these things happen and changing your life for the better. Hit the subscribe button now, turn on bell notifications, and check out the other videos that I've made for you. Super powerful stuff, grounded in psychology, grounded in science, designed to improve your life. This is Vikram signing off, and I will see you in the next session.